a lot of people know me as a keyboard player, B3 player, piano player, but for a long time, my music was guitar-oriented. He thought of me as a guitar player. So I get a call from him, Dominic Davis, whatever year the 80th birthday was, and he said, "Hey, he's Jack White's bassist, Dominic is." So he called me up. He said, "Hey, would you want to play Willie Nelson's 80th birthday?" And I'm like, "Yeah, and very cool for me, April 29th, which is Willie's birthday, is also my birthday. So I love sharing a birthday with Willie, although Willie neglected to mention it at the birthday thing. I was put out. But anyway, so Dominic said, well, I said, yeah, what, am I playing B3? What am I doing? He said, no, we need you on guitar, on acoustic guitar. And, to me, Willie is a badass on guitar. He's like Django Reinhardt playing standards with these really interesting passing chords. There's a lot going on. And I said, acoustic guitar? And he said, yeah. He said, CMT is, they're the executive producers and they want to make sure that there's someone, they want to make sure there's a legit acoustic guitar player. And I wasn't going to argue with it, But so I wind up on this gig with a great band, an interesting band, because obviously Dominic was playing upright and maybe electric, but there was another guy there playing, I think, like one of those Fender 6 basses or whatever those, kind of like a baritone guitar, and it was Tom Pedersen from Cheap Trick. So, this is fun. And then, I can't think of his, Corey, I can't think of his name, was supposed to play piano, and then Nora Jones was on the date, and so she said, well, can I play piano? So, I'm sure dude still got his paycheck, but so my resume was climbing by the minute, so then the Sheryl Crow was singing, Neil Young, but it's Willie, and so there I am. I brought 2 Gibson guitars. I remember the exact guitars I brought. One was just in case something went wrong with the other one, but at some point, they're filming, and I know this footage is buried someplace. I would love to find it. We took a break, we're rehearsing all day, and then we're going to perform that night and film. And so everybody leaves the stage except me, and Willie was there, but I didn't even realize it. And so I'm running through these changes, because some of his songs are more complicated than you would guess, And so he has a song called Faraway Places. And it's one of those songs that I don't even know if I'd ever heard it before, or if I had, I don't know. I don't even know if it's something he wrote, honestly. But it has these kind of pretty changes, and I think he might have been doing it with Cheryl. I'm not sure. But so I thought, I just want to, before I leave the stage, I just want to run through these changes, make sure it's right. And so I start playing. And Willie comes up to me, and he's so mellow, obviously, and cool, and just subdued. And he goes, what song is that? Not exactly what I want to hear him say. So I go, well, it's Faraway Places. He goes, how's that go? And so I go, and all I know is the very first, is just the title, really. So I start strumming, Faraway Places. That's it. That's all I know of the lyric. And he immediately picks it up. So it's him standing, he's this far away from me, and he's just singing right into my eyes. Sings the whole song. So Dominic, the bass player, kind of sees this exchange happening. He drags his bass over, but for the 3 minutes or however long that song lasts, Willie just looked at me, sang the entire song, and honestly, it's probably one of the greatest musical moments of my life, to have this guy just, like, I guess rehearsing with me. It might have been, I guess he needed to do it. I don't know. I needed to, but how cool. And there was a couple of other funny things that happened at that show. At least, well, one great thing was that my daughters, who were probably in their early 20s at that point, they were my guests. And, when you grow up with, your dad is going over to Amy Grant's house to write a song, or he's, playing with Emmy or whoever. My kids have not ever had reason to think this was extraordinary. And so there I am. But the Willie thing, and it's even funny that in their generation, they even recognized this is a big deal. And so they're sitting there. There's Neil Young. There's Leon Russell. And so that was just kind of, as a father, that was a beautiful thing for me to see my kids sort of, the light bulb come on a little bit and realize, Dad he's blessed, Well, I'll move the order of things because I think the last one is just kind of cool. The last little vignette I'll give you from this. But one funny thing that happened was, as a keyboard player, Leon Russell to me was hugely influential. I don't know if I hear him as much in my playing now as I did when I started in the 70s. But in the 70s, if you'd hear me play some octave, do-do-do-do-do, some blues run. And that was all Leon. I loved Leon. I loved Motel Shot, Delaney and Bonnie, loved that record with him just playing so beautifully. Well, by this point in time, I already know that Leon is probably not going to be like your best friend if you meet him, to put it mildly. But I thought, I have got to thank this guy. In fact, I remember meeting Rick Danko, not Rick Danko, I met him, Richard Manuel, just shortly before he passed. And when I met Richard Manuel from the band, I said, Richard, my name's Phil Madeira. He interrupts me, he goes, I'm Richard Manuel, just humble, right? I said, I just wanted to thank you because I said, I've been a drummer and a piano player, particularly piano playing. I said, I just love what you've given the world. And he was so gracious, right? So now here I am, 20 years later, and we're taking a break. I'm walking down a corridor. I'm just leaving the restroom, walking down a corridor. Here comes Leon. Now, the whole time he's been there, he's been on one of those little rascal scooters like George Costanza drives around in the Seinfeld episode. But now he's walking, so I see Leon walking towards me. So I thought, well, here's your chance, And you do learn to kind of, generally speaking, ignore the talent, you leave him alone. But it's Leon Russell. And so I just said, Leon, I said, I know I'm playing acoustic on this gig, but to be honest with you, I'm a piano player, and just got to thank you because you were hugely influential in my playing. He goes, well, I'm going to influence you some more if you don't get out of my way. I'm thinking, shit. I thought, if you had just been nice and just said, well, oh, that's nice to hear, thanks, kept going, I wouldn't really have a story. But if anybody ever mentioned you, I said, well, he was sweet to me. But no, now I got this story. What a rude guy. Still a great player. Although his playing on that thing was horrible because he had a piano, but the piano sound was a synthesizer with a bunch of stringy, cheesy, just awful. So that happened, and then which I hope that doesn't make anybody feel bad, but I just think it's kind of, I'm going to influence you some more. It's like, okay. The other thing that happened was Neil Young is on the date. And I have a friend, Steve Hindalong, who he actually just got back from a tour with Sixpence, None the Richer, pop band. Great people, great band. He's been out playing percussion for them and playing some guitar. But anyway, Steve is one of my closest friends. He knew I was going to play this Willie Nelson birthday party. He knew that Neil Young was going to be on it, which really was cool, I got to say. And Steve is, he's a smaller guy, and he can really kind of almost like crinkle up into a little ball of foil or something if he's humbly asking something, and he goes, Phil, if Neil drops a pick, can you grab it for me? Big Neil Young fan. And I'm just like, I mean, it's unlikely, right? But I go, sure. And anyways, so we're done with the show, we're packing up. My guitar cases are down, a level beneath where we've been performing. I go down there, I've got my daughters with me, and Neil's tech is down there, and his guitar guy, packing up Neil's stuff, and he starts talking to us about how much he likes Nashville, and he goes, would you each like a guitar pick? I go, hey, can I get one extra? He goes, yeah. So Steve Hindalong got his pick, but that was, in my years of kind of being a nobody, but connected to whomever, via Emmylou in particular, but Buddy Miller. But in this instance, another quote nobody, Dominic Davis. I've gotten connected to so many phenomenal artists, heroes, and it's been great.
Had you ever had any interaction with Willie before that?
I don't think so. I think we played with Buddy Miller one time at some kind of ranchy place. I don't know if it was, we played some venue in the Hill Country where I think Willie was on the bill, but I don't think so. If I did, I've forgotten it, which is entirely possible. But
had you ever seen him live?
Oh yeah, I saw him. Intriguing bill. I went to see Dylan. I wanted to see Bob. I've seen Bob play a bunch of times. And so Emmylou and Buddy and myself and a few other people in that circle went to the old Sounds Stadium here in town. And it was a double bill. It was Willie Nelson and Bob Dylan. And it was so funny because, Bob was in pretty good form, although he was playing the keyboard thing, which standing up, I don't like seeing a keyboard player stand up. It's just, I have an aversion to that. It's like, yes, I never like seeing that. But so Bob, that was the period where you would, every once in a while, you would see him with a long-haired wig. I don't know if you ever saw those pictures, cowboy hat, long-haired wig. It was like, what's he doing? So he was okay. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't unbelievable as well. Willie comes out, and they're sound checking, and you're hearing these guys. I think Paul was still playing drums. It shouldn't work. Apart from Mickey, Raphael, it's almost like this bar band that you pull together like Chuck Berry would do when he's in town. Who knows who's going to... It shouldn't have worked, and it was awesome. It was awesome to hear these guys play together, and Willie was great, and just his how he articulates stuff on the guitar, and then his singing. he also has a voice that shouldn't work, in my opinion. It should not work, but man, it's always golden.
He's such a pure instrument in so many ways.
Yeah, he's great.